TIL that microwave power settings don't actually reduce the power, rather, they cycle the microwave energy on-off, i.e. 50 power means the energy is on half the time, not on all the time but half power. Used to sell is largely true except for the mostly Panasonic microwaves that have a tag with inverter on them. These actually cook at whatever percentage power all the time using an inverter and hence are usually more evenly heated or cooked. Some of the top-end microwaves also have humidity sensors that determine if you are overcooking your food. For example, Panasonic calls their sensor cooking system Genius. It's a similar thing with the brightness control of your LED monitor or TV. At 100 brightness, the pixels are all on continuously. At 50 brightness, they flicker on and off imperceptibly in an even pulse. Imagine a perfect square wave. At all other levels of brightness, the off time is adjusted proportionally. I actually figured this out recently as well. I'm a big fan of microwaving stuff for twice the time at half the power. I realized the little hummer would hum for only the percentage of time the power was set for. My model is even 10-second cycles. 66 seconds on, 4 seconds off. And so forth. So you are saying that, despite all of the human knowledge, gathered throughout the many centuries, we as humans created Hot Pockets, and yet we have no way to cook them to be delicious? So in fact Hot Pockets are pure chaos theory exemplified. Fascinating. Same as a lot of the electric hobs. 3 on the power setting just lights up the ring less often than 5 or whatever. Because putting a controlled variable resistance into a high power large ring like that is just going to eventually stop working or overheat. I came to this realization a few days ago when I was heating some chicken tenders in the micro at 50, you can hear it cycling on and off. The salt system in the pool works the same way, 50p means on 50 of the time. This is true for most microwaves, but inverter microwaves reduce the power level and runs at that level 100 of the time. They are more expensive, but last longer because they aren't cycling the power repeatedly. Running them at 50 but doubling the time heats things through more evenly. Things that usually need stirring midway through cooking generally don't. The last stir at the end is usually enough. Not always the case. Inverter microwaves can dial in their power to exactly what power level is requested. It's like getting a cheap AC that only has one speed or an expensive variable speed one. It's some form of PWM pulse width modulation. That's how RGB LEDs typically work. Rather than change the amount of power to each color diode, they change how long they're sending 5 volts to it. My Panasonic inverter microwave will run at 50 power, but it drops my 2.4 grams Wi-Fi from massive interference when run at any power level. My old non-inverter microwave never had that issue. Just like old dimmer switches, that's why they make LED lights flicker instead of dim. They're just cycling power and relying on the capacitance of the incandescent filament. I never adjust the power. 45 seconds to reheat a cup of tea coffee. 2 minutes for leftovers. 10 seconds for butter to melt. Repeat as necessary. 15 seconds to heat up a boiled egg. My microwave, even when new, gets tired after 5 or 6 minutes of use and will not turn on the actual microwave and just spins food till you give it a few minutes. It's effectively the same thing as reducing the power. Pulse width modulation is pretty common. The radiator fans in your car are controlled this way, for example. So do your LED lights, they don't dim. Your AC and furnace has only one temperature setting. Your hot water is only one temperature and mixed with cold water. I feel like you shouldn't really need an article from a website to learn this. Some simple observation of a microwave should yield the same knowledge. Your oven does this as well. It makes heat or doesn't make heat as needed. Really, most things do. It's still resulting in less heat or power. Power is energy based on a unit of time. So lowering the power setting does effectively the power because you lowered the amount of time on. Lan Lam just did a video on this very topic. She's really great at explaining things. That's why we buy cheap combi ovens even though we have an oven. They usually allow percentage or wattage to be set. Smirking face. My understanding is that ovens with an inverter do reduce power, along with pulsing that power. Your microwave is power setting? Mine has the numbers, a popcorn button, and a frost. It's called a duty cycle. Your electric cooktops do the same thing, as do LED dimmers. The sound of the microwave changes, so it's possible to hear the cycle on some devices. So the setting is expressed as an average and not a consistent value. Got you? You could tell from the sound? Do you know when your furnace is running? It is called a duty cycle, and electric stove elements work the same way. You can hear the nuker kick on and off on any microwave I used. Macron to Macron. How did you just learn this? Do you not listen at all to your microwave? It's amazing how inconsequential this new knowledge is to my life. You can hear this happening. How could this be a mystery? No shit! You can hear the magnetron turning on and off, that's why you spin for one driven with an inverter. I just watched the same video on YouTube last night.